Alrighty, welcome to Esoteric Beat. We are taking our video game to the next level. This is just a test, but I will share what I'm doing here. I have bought a second webcam and using OBS am now able to make videos with two different video feeds. Here's a quick and dirty setup that I've done. I should probably get either like a document camera like I use at school, or a some kind of like a tripod, some kind of hooky, um, telescoping, adjustable clamp sort of deal. But right now I've just got my webcam and it is pointing at my tarot cards, and it is jury rigged by putting the speaker on it to make sure it doesn't fall down. So here is my PKD tarot, and I thought just for fun we could look at the Boss of Swords. And I want to interpret the significance of, I just found this card. It had slipped out of the deck into a miscellaneous box that was under my bed, and it has been missing from the deck while I do my readings that I get paid the big bucks to do and make these videos for all of you with. It's been missing from the deck. So what is the significance? Well, the Boss of Swords replaces the king or prince of conventional tarot in the Philip K. Dick tarot. And the Boss of Swords is a character from Flow My Tears, the Policeman Said. If you've ever seen the Liam Neeson movie Unknown, it really rips off the premise of this book, which is this guy, the police captain Felix Buckman, who's a big man, he's in a position of authority, finds himself in a kind of a parallel universe where nobody knows who he is. And in the Liam Neeson movie, it really captures the sort of uncanny effect. But then, spoiler alert, you can go ahead and pause the video if you don't want spoilers for this obscure Liam Neeson movie, which has, I believe, January Jones, the wife from Mad Men, and an awesome role for her as the wife of Liam Neeson's character, who pretends that she doesn't know who he is, and it turns out that it's all part of this elaborate like political intrigue, and everybody's just pretending they don't know who he is. But clearly a ripoff of Flow My Tears, the Policeman Said. Stay tuned for my scathing critical essay. Anyway, so what is the suit of swords in tarot? I love to point to the esoteric meaning, which has to do with destroying thoughts. But the swords is generally the suit of cognition and the mind. And so what does it mean that my Boss of Swords was missing? Some kind of interaction of my will to think, right? Some kind of interaction between my willpower. The Boss is the court card that represents the fiery part of swords. So it's sort of fire and air together. And so maybe this has something to do with the fact that I was disorganized and sort of lost my motivation. That might explain why I've been having trouble getting too many videos out to you. But anyway, here's me working on rectifying this. I have restored the card to the deck, and I have, which way am I pointing here? And I now have a way to video. And if I want to talk about like an alchemical emblem, or a mystical diagram, or the Kabbalistic tree of life, or whatever, I can now use OBS. This is something I've been putting off for years, so I finally found the motivation. I finally put my wand and my sword together and learned how to do it. I just called up a little tutorial. I was even thinking about being super lazy and using voice mode, but to do the tutorial, so I didn't have to tab back and forth, but I was able to pull it off tabbing back and forth and save resources on that voice mode, which I can now use for something more difficult. So let's look at a few more PKD tarot cards. We'll do a quick little reading. Aha, here is 10 of Discs, and this is based on the story King of the Elves. And we can put this in conversation with the Boss of Discs being lost, right? Because the King of the Elves was supposed to be a movie adaptation, the latest movie adaptation of Philip K. Dick. I believe Disney was gonna do it. I mean, The King of the Elves sounds like a Disney movie, I guess. And apparently that has been scuppered, so we will never get to see The King of the Elves made into a movie. And this is the Ten of Discs. So our disc card and our sword card are poorly dignified because discs and swords are enemies, right? We've got an elemental clash here between the earthy and the airy aspects, right? And I'm trying to figure out how to step forward in making my tarot business into more of a career, right? I get a trickle of work these days. I'm trying to make videos to promote my tarot, and this is an example of how I'm stepping up my tarot game, right? But what's the poorly dignified part, right? Well, the Ten of Discs represents, the tens represent a sort of completion, right? And this is the Ten of Discs wealth, and it represents my interests in, getting a little bit more serious, a little bit more intellectually serious, and a little bit more materially serious, and making this a business, like getting more serious about the like trying to make money doing this. And I've always been reluctant to get too serious about it because tarot's kind of a hobby. It's kind of a spiritual pursuit. It's a way that I'm like helping people out. And I do appreciate it when people like chip in a few bucks, like buy me a coffee to support my research. But I'm not trying to be some kind of professional. I'm not trying to hang out a shingle as like a psychic tarot reader and blow smoke up your ass telling you that I can tell the future, right? So I'm placing this in the past, right? And Felix Buckman was my indicator card. I guess I'm Felix Buckman. I'm finding myself in a new universe where nobody recognizes who I am, putting myself out there on YouTube. And then finally, we have the Worker Drone of Wands. So we're back to Wands, which was in the first card as the boss is the wandy part, right? The fiery part. And here we have the Tire Groover from Confessions of a Crap Artist as the Worker Drone of Wands, replacing the page oh, you know what? I had my court cards mixed up. The boss is air in the Crowley Tarot. So the Worker Drone's actually the fiery part. And, well, if he replaces the Knight, or does he replace the Page of Conventional Tarot? I don't know. I can never get my court card attribution straight. That explains why we have such poor dignities as well, right? I can never decide which element I want what court card to be. And anyway, another concern that I'm reading in here is the Tire Regroover is kind of a rip-off artist, right? And it's even worse because he is not enjoying the fruits of his labor, right? His job is working for the man. He's working for this shop, and he's ripping people off, and he's not even really enjoying the profit off of ripping people off. So like, what a miserable occupation. And that's the kind of thing that I want to avoid as a so-called content creator, right? Everybody hates how artist has been replaced by content creator, right? I think of myself as a creative person. I think of myself as somebody who's interested in esoteric studies. I do hang out as Shingle as an esoteric studies coach, and I also do this on a volunteer basis. Do hit me up. I'm ted.hand@gmail.com if you're interested in esoteric studies coaching. And just like hard drugs on the street, the first session is free. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for checking me out. Stay curious, my friends, and we will bring you more esoteric beat content with a double video feed and 2 cameras.